It's time for the one and the only show. It's the Luke Howard Show, and guess what? It's live! Thank you very much. Extra round of applause, of course, because the show today is, of course, live. Well, we've got a fantastic show today because today the show is live. So on the show today, we're talking about lots of different news today, and we're also going to be talking about some news that broke yesterday about Marcus, the famous footballer Marcus Rashford. We'll get to him in a moment. But first, hope everyone's well, and I hope you're looking forward to the live show today, because we sometimes do the show once live a week, and today we thought that we'd do the show live, because every day it's recorded and comes out around 10, but today, of course, we are live. Got lots to talk about on the show today, and lots of news to talk about, but first, before we actually dig into any other pieces of news, I actually want to talk about, of course, Marcus Rashford. Now, yesterday, it did emerge that they had been talking loads about school dinners and school meals over the summer holidays. So Rashford has said that he hopes that he can use the profile to help change society for the better, and that people are now willing to make this first step forward being heard. The English and Manchester United football star has been widely praised for helping to secure food vouchers with the first £15 a week of disadvantaged children over the summer, which I think, of course, is a very good idea, of course, especially for the parents, of course, who can't afford a lot of money to pay out for things. And I think it's a very good idea for the parents, of course. So he told this is Sky Sports News that it was a bit crazy, and the campaign has worked, and he was happy, and he will be able to make a difference to people's lives. Can we get that interview on the show? Can we see if we can get the interview on there? Can we listen to it? I'm sure we can. We'll get to it in a moment. So, speaking about how footballers can inspire change, the 22-year-old said that fellow England player Raheem Sterling's reaction is to being reasonably abused was a turning point. So now people are willing to make their first step towards being heard, and they all think that the first important factor that was Raheem when he was. I'm just getting the video up about it. Pause. Yeah, so we will listen to that now. So this is Marcus Rashford speaking yesterday morning on Sky News.
Situation's been completely different for everyone in the world. My mum was a single parent. She's got 5 kids that was all living in the same house. She's working very hard to put food on the table, and then it's the stress on the shoulders that affected her after we ate our dinner. Because she knows she's worrying about the situation. She's trying to go to sleep, but she can't because she's so worried. And then the next day, 8 o'clock, she gets up, gets on the bus and starts the day again. And this was every single day on her to try and feed five kids.
There you go. So that was the interview that they interviewed him yesterday, and that was on, I think that was on Sky News that was on, and yeah. So, of course, now are willing to make the first step, of course, towards being heard, and he's not afraid to come out. He said, and he speaks about it, and it's definitely changed how to approach situations for people in the sport. So here is yesterday we heard Matt Hancock speak on Sky News. So can we listen to that interview as well? Right, let's get this interview up, and then you can hear this one as well.
Talk to me about school meals, Marcus Rashford. In April, there was some criticism of footballers' reluctance to take a pay cut while others were being furloughed. You said that as part of a news conference. You said they should do their bit. He has certainly done his. Round of applause for him. An embarrassing U-turn for the government by any measure.
I think it's just fantastic. I absolutely applaud what Marcus Rashford's been doing. And not only he's campaigned on this issue that he clearly feels very, very strongly about, but also he has himself directly been been volunteering. I think it's absolutely terrific, and I pay tribute to it.
Yeah, Secretary said that wasn't my question. My point was that I was chatting to your colleague Grant Shapps this time yesterday, and he was saying, we're definitely not doing this, we're doing enough, sorry about that, gave me all the other money that you were giving to local government, but he said, this is not going to change. By lunchtime, you'd done a volte-face.
Righty-ho. Well, I'll tell you what happened. The Prime Minister talked to Daniel Rashford. He considered it and made his decision. I think it's terrific. I'm in favour of making sure we get as much support as possible to people who obviously, that are in difficult circumstances, especially with coronavirus this summer. So I welcome the Prime Minister's decision, and I'm just really, I think that Marcus Rashford has done a great thing in the volunteering that he's done, and I think that he ran a great campaign. Just made it so clear in that video, just how it was so passionate.
Matt Hancock there speaking on Sky News yesterday that was. So while the recent Black Lives Matter protests have shown a spotlight on racial inequality, Rashford said that his generation is more willing to speak out. So, and he has to make England what we want it to look like as well. And his view on it is that it's generational thing. Generations has changed, and people improve as humans should. Now that was what he said yesterday. He also said, I feel like now is this generation that we're in, that we're not afraid to stand up and to be counted for, and it's definitely a positive thing. And he also said that discussing his campaign, of course, he provided to provide children with food vouchers, and Rashford has said that children going without meals puts a lot of stress on parents. Of course it does. It puts a lot of stress on parents. For the ones who don't have the school dinners, they have to pack all their lunches, put it in a box and do... I mean, it's nothing that bad, but... I mean, it's quite hard to do it 5 days a week, packing up lunch and, putting it in lunch boxes and giving it to them and sending them off. But I think school meals are much better because you haven't got to worry about doing school packed lunches. They cook you all a meal and they serve it up to you. The only thing you've got to bother about is paying it once a month. So that's the only thing you have got to bother about. But he's also said, I've seen firsthand now and how it can spiral out of control and people can literally end up on the streets because of not having meals throughout the day. He also said that it's not only the food situation that he was thinking about when he was raising that awareness. He said it's other stuff as well. Mental health and the well-being of people and families. Marcus Rashford has thanked the PM, and he spoke to the Prime Minister yesterday, because I did watch the brief conference yesterday afternoon, and he turned on free school meals after Boris called him on his phone. He also added that it might have not seemed like a big thing, but something like not eating every day, or not eating the right amount of meals every day, and you can have a big impact on your life. The 22-year-old has previously spoken about how his family had relied on free school meals, and he also, of course, food banks and soup kitchens. Of course, I've been to a soup kitchen before, but only just because we knew some people who had a soup kitchen in a little village up the road from here. Because we live in a little town, and then the rest of it, as you come out, you come into little villages, and we lived in one of those villages, and there used to be a soup kitchen there once Christmas, and we used to go and see them all the old people, all the old friends of ours from that village, and they used to all meet together, and they used to all put little Christmas cards, and that's how I know what a soup kitchen is. A soup kitchen is an amazing thing to do, and I love soup kitchens. And of course, he was growing up as well. But he told SSN that he was one of the lucky ones, as other people would often help him out. And here, I think we've got something here, have we? What is this? Is this...
When your tenants have a burst pipe,
no,
superheroes crashing
that's
through
not
the wall
it.
isn't going to help
This
anyone.
is an advert. Right, okay, while that goes, we'll talk a bit more. At times, if my mum was working late, he said, and she wasn't at home, he knew that he could go 1 or 2 minutes to one of my friends' houses, and they would always put something on the plate for me, he said. And there was ways around if it was me possible, and he also said that for some people there's no ways around it, so who's helping them? He said deposit disposed, earning the praise of many and making the newspaper front pages. Rashford and the focus should not be on himself. It's about the people who it's affecting. Okay, let's rewatch that video, because that is a video. Okay, this is it.
Tenants have a burst pipe. Superheroes crashing through the wall isn't going to help anyone. With Direct Line Landlord Emergency
After this
policy,
advert,
we're on it
we'll
to
play
send
it.
a rather super plumber in 4 hours and guarantee they'll use the doorbell. We can also assemble locksmiths, glaziers, electricians and drainage engineers. Search Direct Line Landlord Emergency. We're on it. Direct Line.
It's after this one.
Residential properties. Optional add-on up to 1,500 per call out. Extreme
Well, it's now. Come on, it's now. Play it now.
By UK Insurance
Interview.
Limited.
The government does another U-turn, this time on free school meal vouchers, but are children in England still being let down? Welcome to the Sky News Daily Podcast with me, Dermot Murnaghan. Thanks for joining us as we
We
examine...
won't play this all. We'll just play about 2 minutes of it.
I think a lot of Tory MPs were questioning why Number 10 had found this a hill to die on.
We'll be discussing Minister's response to...
Right, if you want to watch that, I think we'll leave it there, because we've got other things to get on with now. If you would like to watch that video, you can find it on Sky News, and it's all about what's going on in that, with what he said and about it all, so you can watch it. And he also said, at times, if my mum was working late and she wasn't at home, she said, I knew I could go 1 or 2 minutes to one of my friends' houses, and they would always put something on the table for me, as I just said, and there was ways around it from me personally. He said, even from a young age, I understood that for some people there's not ways around it. So he said, who's helping them? He said, despite earning the praise of many and making the newspaper front pages, Rashford said that he focuses that should not be on himself, because it's about the people who it's affecting, he said. Right, okay, we will leave that story there, because we're going to talk about National Days later on the show. So, yeah, and I hope those videos did help and told you a bit more about it, a little bit more. So we're talking about another story now then. A family has spent lockdown protecting rare treasures at £2,000-year-old fort. So a family of four who spent lockdown sheltering among 2,000-year-old Roman relatives are finally stepping back into the 21st century. Sonia and Colin Galloway only expected to be protecting the Vindo Landor Roman fort in Northumberland for a few weeks. Now, but the couple have ended up to living a 3-month history lesson with sons Oliver 15 and Luke 13. Now, being the only people at the fort has been pretty surreal, yeah. And Sonia 43, it's been so peaceful, she said, and there's been no visitors, no traffic. We've been trapped in the Roman bubble, and it's felt so calm. When you look at these news, it hasn't felt real, as we've been in the pestilence. They said that we've been incredibly sunsets, super moons, the stars, and mandatory showers, but it's been hard work, they said, at the fort. Of course it's been hard work, which was copyrighted by the Romans, and of course they said it's from roughly 85 AD to 370 AD, and it was their first frontier in the north, and it was built long before Hadrian's Wall, and of course much of the sites, such as the bath houses, barracks, and a temple, is well preserved. They said we've been making sure the buildings are secure and that there is a presence on the site, and they put off burglars. And they said that Sonia, who is the Vendrelena Trust's communications manager, she said, we have a collection of writing tablets considered Britain's top archaeological treasure, which needed to be kept at the right light and humanity. Colin 46, the Trust's Deputy Chief Executive, set up a home learning station on the site with Oliver and Luke tested out. They said they've loved the history of the place, the space and nature, and they said, Sonia, that they've helped out and where they can. Luke, not me, another Luke, has helped sweep the prehistoric bathhouse and collected coins from a dried up well on the site. He was most impressed to get 2 buckets full of coins, only worth about 20 quid, though it was. And it was the family set up a home among the bunk beds, and they were evacuators of usually stay along with their Labradoodle Eric, lovely dog, and cat Bramble. I love that name, Bramble. It's such a nice name. Lack of visitors have encourage wild life, such as birds and badgers. Wow, a bit like what Chris Packham would like this, I suppose, then, this story. But of course, it was out into the open, and a highlight was seeing a deer give birth to twins, and of course, said Sonia, and originally animals wouldn't come too close. Luckily for her and the Roman army, with their love of hunting, have long since left. With the site set to particularly reopen on Friday this week, the family are going back to their terraced house in nearby Hexham. The Trust will welcome visitors back and with open arms, as the site has been